Ever been in the passenger seat, like right during a driving test?
Oh, yeah.
You know those tense moments where you're like gripping the door handle for dear life? I feel like we've all been there.
Right.
But have you ever like stopped to think about the person in the other seat, the
Hmm.
one with like the magical clipboard who just somehow manages to stay calm?
Yeah.
Today, we're going to dive into their world. We're talking about car driving instructors.
Yeah, buckle up.
Yeah, because it's not always a smooth ride.
No, it's definitely not just about teaching someone how to parallel park, that's for sure.
Right.
It's a lot bigger than that. You're actually like shaping responsible drivers when you think about it.
It's huge. Great.
It's a big responsibility.
It is. And luckily, we have some really awesome resources from RoleCatcher to help us break this down. They've got their career guides, interview prep, the whole shebang.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So let's start with like what a car driving instructor actually does. I mean, obviously, they instruct.
Yeah.
But beyond that, what's involved?
Right. It's more than just the basics.
Yeah.
Like you said, obviously, teaching people how to drive is a big part of it. But it's also about instilling those safe driving habits that will stay with someone, hopefully, for their whole life.
It's not just like getting them to pass the test. It's like,
Right. It's not just about the license.
yeah.
It's about making sure they're prepared for the actual road
Yeah.
and all the different situations that come up.
Right. The actual world of driving, which can be scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So speaking of like nerve-wracking situations, let's talk about the work environment. Is it all like scenic routes and open highways, or is it a bit more,
I wish RoleCatcher, they described it as, it can be physically and mentally demanding, especially when you think
Yeah.
about it. You're dealing with new drivers.
totally. And those driving tests,
Yeah.
those can be pretty intense. Like I'm getting stressed just thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so imagine this. You're in the passenger seat, right? It's your student's first highway merge. And everyone else on the road, they're basically in a Fast and Furious movie. What's going through your mind?
It's definitely trial by fire, that's for
Right.
sure. You're responsible for keeping them calm, but also, like you said, everyone else on the road's safe.
You've got precious cargo, and everyone else is like weaving in and out.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure. So how do you like stay so calm and collected when things get dicey?
It's definitely a skill you learn over time.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it is just experience.
Experience and a whole lot of patience.
Definitely patience.
Right. But in those moments, like, what makes it all worth it? There's got to be some amazing moments in this job, right?
Oh, absolutely. There are, for sure. Seeing a student progress, like really master a skill or gain the confidence to drive on their own
Amazing.
it's really rewarding. There's no other feeling like it,
It's like you're giving them like a superpower or something.
in a way.
Right. Like you're opening up their world.
Exactly.
That's so cool. But the
Yeah.
world of driving is changing so fast.
Fast. Yeah.
Right. Like what are some of the industry trends that are like on the horizon for people who want to become driving instructors?
Technology is a big one. Like RoleCatcher mentions, there's virtual reality simulations now.
So you can like learn to drive in VR before you even get in a car?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They use it as a safe way to practice different skills.
That's amazing.
And then there's the rise of electric cars and self-driving cars, which is changing things up too.
Wow. So it's like the future of driving is already here. Like, what does all this new tech mean for someone who's thinking about becoming an instructor?
I think it means you need to be adaptable.
Right. Like open to new things.
Exactly. And always be willing to learn and keep up with the changes because it's a constantly evolving field.
So not just like knowing the rules of the road,
Right.
but knowing how to like teach those rules in a world where the roads might look totally different.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be teaching people how to operate flying cars.
Now that's a deep dive I'd sign up for.
Right. That'd be something else.
It's like we're living in the future already.
I know, right?
But even with all this fancy tech, you still need someone to like hold your hand through those first few driving lessons, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like a human touch.
For sure, technology can only take you so far.
Right.
You still need that person-to-person interaction.
Totally. So let's get real about the career path itself. Like, what are some of the perks of being a driving instructor?
Well, one of the biggest ones is the flexibility.
Oh, yeah, the schedule.
Exactly.
You're not stuck in a cubicle from 9 to 5.
Nope. RoleCatcher really emphasized that. You can often set your own hours, especially if you're working independently.
Which is amazing, especially if you value your freedom and like,
Independence.
yeah, no more rush hour.
Exactly.
Okay, so flexibility is a huge plus, but there's got to be more to it than that.
Oh, for sure. There's also the huge satisfaction you get from helping others.
Right, like making a difference.
Yeah, you're empowering these people to get out there and achieve a big milestone, which is getting their license.
Yeah, it's like a rite of passage, getting your driver's license.
It is.
It's like this whole new world of possibilities just opens up.
Exactly. And you get to be a part of that.
That's really cool. And you're right, it's not just about teaching a skill.
It's about building confidence,
Yeah.
helping them become more independent.
Okay, so we've got flexibility, the feel-good factor. What about the financial side of things?
Well, the good news is there's a pretty high demand for skilled driving instructors.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that usually means a decent earning potential.
And you can often set your own rates.
Right, exactly. Especially if you go independent.
So you've got the freedom, the fulfillment, and the potential to, be your own boss.
Yeah, it's pretty appealing in a lot of ways.
It does sound pretty great. But like any job, there's got to be a flip side, right?
Of course, every job has its challenges.
What are some of the downsides of being a driving instructor? Like, what are some of those, shall we say, learning experiences?
Well, remember all that flexibility we talked about.
Yeah.
It often comes with some, let's say, unconventional working hours.
Right, like evenings and weekends.
Exactly. You're working around your students' schedules, so you might find yourself teaching a teenager to parallel park on a Saturday afternoon when you'd rather be,
At the beach, enjoying your weekend.
Exactly.
Okay, so work-life balance can be a bit tricky.
It can be.
Gotcha. But at least you're not stuck in an office all day, right?
That's true.
What about the students themselves? Like, I imagine you need the patience of a saint for this job.
Patience is definitely a must-have.
Right.
Let's just say not all students are created equal.
Oh, I bet.
You'll encounter some who are nervous, some who are frustrated easily, and that can be tough, especially during those high-pressure driving tests.
Oh, I can imagine.
It takes a special kind of person to stay calm and collected when someone's, like, mistaking the gas for the brake.
And you're, like, inches away from a curve.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, you're making me relive my driving test. Sorry. Okay, so nerves of steel are a plus.
Definitely.
RoleCatcher also mentions something about continuous learning. What's that all about?
Well, the driving world is constantly changing.
That's true. New rules, new cars.
Exactly. So you've got new regulations, new vehicle technologies, new teaching methods.
You have to stay updated on everything.
You got to stay ahead of the curve if you want to be a successful instructor.
So it's not just about being a good driver.
Right.
It's about being a good teacher, a good communicator, and like always learning.
Absolutely. You've got to be adaptable and open to new ways of doing things.
In sense, especially in a field that's always evolving.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, this sounds like me. This is my dream job.
Awesome.
What are the first steps they should take? How do they, like, get behind the wheel of this career path?
Well, first things first, you need some solid driving experience yourself.
Right. You can't teach someone else how to drive if you're, like, still figuring it out yourself.
Exactly. RoleCatcher recommends at least a few years of licensed driving under your belt.
Okay, so experience is key.
Yep, it's all about building that strong foundation.
Gotcha. What else?
Then, you'll need to look into getting the necessary certifications.
Okay, so it's not as simple as just having a clean driving record and a love for cars.
It would be nice,
Right.
but there are some hoops to jump through.
Tell me more about these certifications.
Sure, so each region has its own specific requirements.
Okay.
But in general, you'll need to complete a recognized driving instructor training program.
So, like, driving school, but for instructors.
Kind of, yeah. These programs are designed to really prepare you for all aspects of the job.
Like what? What do they teach you?
Well, you'll learn about different teaching methodologies, vehicle mechanics, the legal side of driving instruction.
Wow, so it's really comprehensive.
It is, because you're not just driving, you're teaching others how to drive.
Right, which is a whole other skill set. Exactly.
And you need to know the rules of the road inside and out.
Absolutely.
And then be able to explain them in a way that, like, makes sense to someone who's never sat behind the wheel before.
Yep, you've got to be a good communicator, patient, and able to adapt to different learning styles.
That's a lot of hats to wear.
It is, but it's also what makes the job so rewarding.
Okay, so you've aced your training, you've got your shiny new certifications, you're ready to hit the road as an official driving instructor.
Woohoo!
What's next? What does the career path look like beyond those first few lessons?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, tell me more.
There are actually a lot of different avenues for advancement and specialization within this field. Really? So it's not just like teaching teenagers how to parallel park for the rest of your life.
Not necessarily,
Oh,
no.
okay, good to know.
For example, if you're more of a leader, you might be interested in supervisory or management roles within driving schools.
Okay, so you could like run the whole show. So you could go from teaching someone how to parallel park to running your own drive school.
Yeah, you could build your own empire of drivers.
That's pretty amazing. It
Yeah.
sounds like there's a lot of room for like ambition and growth in this field.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're passionate about a specific area of driving instruction, you can even specialize.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like RoleCatcher mentioned, you could become a certified instructor for commercial vehicles, or maybe focus on defensive driving techniques.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, or even work with individuals with disabilities.
Yeah.
There are all sorts of niches out there.
So you could really like tailor your career path to match your skills and what you're really into.
Exactly. That's one of the great things about this field. It's not one size fits all.
Totally. It's like choosing your own adventure, but with like a steering wheel and a gas pedal.
Right. Except you're the one guiding the adventure, not going on it yourself.
I like it. So as we're like putting it in park on this deep dive into the world of car driving instructors, what's the one thing you'd want our listeners to remember about this career path?
That's a good one. I think I'd say it's definitely demanding, but also super rewarding. You're not just teaching people a skill. You're empowering them, you know, and you're helping to make the roads safer for everyone.
It's a big responsibility.
It is, but it's one that comes with a lot of satisfaction, I think.
Right, like knowing you've played a part in shaping someone's like relationship with driving, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
Okay, so last question.
Give me.
What happens when we've got like self-driving cars everywhere? What happens to driving instructors then?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
Will driving instructors become like the tech support for autonomous vehicles or something?
Right, like teaching people how to like program their self-driving car to like go get groceries.
Exactly. Or maybe the role will shift more towards teaching people how to handle those like emergency situations, if they have to take over manual control.
Oh, that's interesting. So maybe the human element of driving instruction will always be important, even with all this new technology.
Yeah, it makes you think, that's for sure.
It does. It makes you wonder what the future holds for driving, for transportation, for everything.
Definitely.
Well, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap things up.
I agree.
We've had a great time exploring the world of car driving instructors.
Me too. It's been fun.
Yeah. And thanks to RoleCatcher for providing such awesome resources.
They're great.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us for another episode of The Deep Dive.
See you.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.